So I woke up, and in an effort to ground emotions, which there are a lot of at the minute, I was called outside by the plants and the trees, and have been sitting in this little patch of grass for a few days and just noticed the dandelions and the daisies have started to come out. So I was in a bit of a childlike, nostalgic mode and made a little daisy chain, as you can see, and I wanted to wear it as calming energy around crown chakra, because there is a lot going on in that mental space at the minute, but also just as a practice of kind of innocent meditation. You know, it's so beautiful just to, I gave thanks for picking these flowers because they may not last long now I've taken them out of the earth. However, they were okay to share their energy with me, and you know, just the delicacy of, and it felt very feminine and gentle, which is for me very, very healing when I have an overwhelm of emotions inside of me. Rather to externalise it, which I've learned over the years, is just to try to understand where the imbalance is and what I might be able to use in and around me to harmonise that imbalance, and to raise frequencies naturally. And sunlight was there, and I've hydrated well, and just that act of giving thanks to the earth and picking, and you know, if you've made them before, you stick your little nail into the stem and you thread them through, and back in the day I remember breaking them and probably being a bit forceful, whereas I just felt so gentle and, dare I say, timid and soft today, that it felt like quite a wholesome experience to come back to myself, come back to my childlike innocence, come back to my femininity, my divinity. As a sacred woman, because I believe I am. I believe all of us can claim sacred living if we interact in ways that are honouring and respectful of ourselves and the environment around us. And I know a lot of people's nervous systems are moving through a state of overwhelm. I know that spiritual and emotional, mental, to use the word again, imbalances manifest in the physical. So it is really important to be mindful that, if we so believe, some people don't realise that what we think we create in the physical reality. And aside from this little introduction, the reason why I'm coming on is because I was thinking a lot about dreams today, and had this dreamy little moment in nature and dreamy connection with Gaia about reality creation and creating our dreams, and knowing that from the spiritual, physical and emotional space it becomes physical. And it is really, really important to be mindful of our words, of our intentions, of how we speak words into existence. Just that practice of mindfulness. In English we use a phrase of, you know, willy-nilly, like nonchalant. You know, it's quite hard for me to hear words like HELL, which is just a place to people or whatever, but it's an energy, and HATE and funny things like that, when I'm happy to say fuck. But these, I feel quite, and fear quite heavy and anchored words, anchored to an oppressive lower vibration. I don't really wish to say them. I don't really wish to talk myself down or say what I hear sometimes other people. It's not judgment, it's observation. Some people are quite quick to say silly me or stupid me or what an idiot, and I'm on this path of, many of us are on this path of self-awareness, where we try to catch ourselves in those moments where we start to spiral, or we like unconsciously talk ourselves down, talk ourselves out of our birthright, talk ourselves out of our natural beauty and divinity, and start to, well, when those gaps are there, other energies can come in and fill them, and you think you need this, or you think you need makeup, or you think you need that thing to fulfill an imbalance, a hole inside. So this dreamy little rising that I had in Gaia was, I mean, essentially about not giving up on our dreams right now, because there's lots of baptisms by fire, there's lots of things ending and whirling, and also old versions of ourselves. We're just saying goodbye to things that maybe once we tolerated and now are just not aligned with the highest versions of ourselves. And being a higher, better version of ourselves is met with challenge, because that's where we need to practice the work. That's where we're sometimes placed in environments where we can be triggered the most. And I don't know if we heal 100% before the day we leave the realm in a very distant future. It's something that's very personal and individual to us in our stories, in the co-created stories within union and within close, intimate relationships. And as someone who I have lived my dreams. I know dreams are possible, and I know, it's more knowing these days, knowing that miracles exist. And when that magic is dimmed and dulled by behaviour that kind of can infiltrate as fear or whatever these illusion things are, is we might be discouraged from following what we feel is true and aligned, from what we know is sacred and has been a gift, has been ordained, has arrived to us, that moment in time where nothing looks convenient, nothing looks as we wanted it to be. But dreams arrive, and that frequency from the mental state, and they appear in front of us, and it's up to us to say yes. Now, I'm not saying no is a bad thing. I believe saying no is a positive word if it's, about boundaries and, not necessarily agreeing with everything in and around us, but to say yes to potentially big changes, because they wouldn't arrive if we're not ready. They wouldn't arrive if we had not already overcome them as someone who believes we've come back from the future. They wouldn't arrive as a test or a challenge to harm us, because the whole idea to incarnate is not to die. That lesson, death, is a part of it at a later stage, but it's just the continual learning and the level up. So I feel like these guys want to be more in camera because they keep falling down. It's still attached. But with this dream, dialogue I was having, and these messages that have been coming through in the dreamscape, which is very, very strange right now. And I trust that many that watch are either big dreamers or have conversations with friends about how you've appeared in dreams of theirs, or how you've done this, or how they've got messages from this anyway, it's just very interesting right now. And as someone who has lived my dreams and tasted my dreams, is, if we believe in the sort of universal law, and that nothing is permanent, everything is temporary, it's like when you live your dreams, how long do they last? How long does that reality present itself as this continued, the same form? Does it take a different shape? Does it take a different meaning or a detour? Because nothing is permanent. We don't learn through permanence. We learn through the temporary state of letting go and surrender, which is highly uncomfortable at times. So I don't know what's whirling in the collective in personal relationships right now. 1, 2, 3 on the clock just passed. I know there is an elevation. I also there's like a massive crumbling, but that leads, when there's this huge friction, it usually is a catalyst or a catapult for something else. It's that tension when you're pulling on a catapult for something to fling forward as a just heightened momentum into possibility, into the dream. I don't know, it's just I don't want us to give up on dreams. If we've seen things in the spirit, if we connect with our spiritual, our soul, our spiritual self, and we try to maintain conscious practices daily, which are not going to look the same daily. Many of us will have 1 or 2 sacred rituals that really root us in ourselves and our embodiment every day. It's quite nice, for me, I like that regularity of a few things that I do that know how to self-soothe. But in terms of the dreams, is that reality will exist so far as it brings us up. If there is stagnancy or anything that comes into that, it means that we've fallen out of an abundance mindset. Like, is it the lack of gratitude for this dream that has like enveloped us and come around us? Is it the lack of gratitude and taking things for granted, where things might crumble and feel like they've been taken away from us? Is it because we haven't been treating this dream of ours, this reality, this divine reality, as a gift that we get humbled because we're never meant to be without gratitude? We're not meant to exist in arrogance and in this assumption that things last forever. However difficult that is to practice in reality, when your feelings are involved, when love and pain, they coexist, and you have this duality, this dance between you and another, you and a co-creation with Gaia. I don't know if this is making sense. In my head, I just know that today for me was about a reset of leveling up, of knowing that miracles exist. From what I've seen over the past couple of years, is the magnitude of magic that is available to us once we change our mindset, once we just allow a little bit of the unseen to enter our mind space. So yeah, how long do dreams last? Does one lot arrive and then you change and transform it and continue to build? How does... I'm in this space of like wondering how reality works anymore, because I haven't got a clue. Like, there's a knowing and there's also this humble like, what is going on? Do I understand anything? I'd like to think that I've observed patterns over time in myself and around me in the world and Gaia, and I've just seen and heard things. But at this point, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if anything drops or happens in my reality, just because of the strangeness of life. There's naught strange as folk, People are weird, we are weird, life is weird. Weird is a kind of beautiful thing, because it's this expansive, mystic word that we put on people that we don't quite understand, or we want to label, or we're just like the outcasts, the black sheep, the those on the fringes of society, or accepted groups and behaviours, when, I'm never someone that's done groupthink or groups or whatever like that. I don't need the approval or validation of anyone but myself. It's nice to, as I said before, I think I've spoken about this kind of material before, is it's lovely to be honoured in the sacred relationships that we hold dear, but can another truly ever really see us fully? Especially if another person is not willing to acknowledge our own shadow as something that might impact another, like, negatively. But I guess it's all about perception and perspectives. So today is about my perspective on dreams. Do they last forever? Yes, they are attainable. But if we take things for granted, that we lower our frequency by living in without reverence of without honouring, without the sacredness of life. Then I do think things can fall out of our grasp. Not saying they don't come back around revived in a different way, in a different shape, in a different form, because there'll be a new lesson that we need to learn, or a new pattern, or something to observe. But yeah. Anyway, the trees are dancing outside. I'm getting distracted. So the flowers say hi, and wishing you much grounding, peace, love, respect for the everyman. And I trust that we honour those in our lives, and we say our thanks, and we give thanks, and we're grateful, because that is the language of abundance. And surely we all deserve that as our default. I know Gaia needs it from us. And when powerful people come together, powerful meaning we know ourselves. It's no control or dominance. It's just we know ourselves, so we don't need to perform, and we can share that love with the world, because the frequencies need that right now. Love, authenticity, harmony, peace. And I trust that the dreams will appear.